Oh, yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ted and Papo, the Wrestling Exchange, episode 18. We got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. As always, my name is Ted, and I am joined with, as per usual, my partner.
Welcome back. This is Papo. Let's get this ball rolling.
Speaking of getting this ball rolling, which is a terrible segue, a couple of things that I just wanted to mention right off the bat. Number one, if you're viewing this video, which right now is a stupid thing to say because that's the only way you can. We don't have an MP4 yet. We're still working on that. But a couple of quick things: like, comment, share, subscribe, share it with your friends. Get people listening. We want to grow the audience. I have big plans, which I'll may or may not be unveiling soon as to what we want to do and where we want to go. In order to do that, we need more people listening. So please like, comment, subscribe, share, embed, all that good stuff. Also, right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, NXT, which you've heard us talk about before, this is the WWE developmental territory here in Florida. It's actually located in the Orlando area. This week, in fact, this Saturday on October the 4th, they're going to be doing television tapings or tapings rather, just down the road in Fort Pierce. So any of our listeners, viewers, watchers, peoples, if you're in the Fort Pierce area, and if you can go, and I think, did we post this on the Facebook page?
Yes, I did.
That's my man right there, on top of shit, on top of shit. So listen, if you go, just a couple of quick things. Let us know how good it was. Don't tell us what happened, because I watch NXT and I don't want any spoilers. And this is a taping, so they're going to be airing these later on down the road. But I will tell you, it is worth going, because tickets are $10 unless you're getting front row ringside tickets, and those are $20. Can't beat that. And it's going to be televised somewhat, sort of, on the network for how much?
$10. Oh. And front row is $20, but you can watch it all on the WWE Network for $9.99.
Hell yeah! And Vince, you know what? You should give us some sort of subscription thing where we can just give samples to our listeners since we plug your shit all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, that being said, we have a fun and exciting episode of WWE RAW. This was September the I'm tempted to say 29th. Oh, this is Susan G. Komen month. We're in Chicago, and for those of you who don't know, every year around October, WWE partners with a group known as Susan G. Komen, or Susan G. Komen Foundation. It's basically a group that helps to finance research for breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. So they do have an ability to donate through WWEshop.com. I believe you can buy shirts that support the cause of fighting breast cancer. So if you are so inclined and if you have the money, please donate. That being said, we had an interesting start to the show, Papo. Oh, okay. I got sidetracked. God damn CM Punk chants. Now, obviously, this show is in Chicago. Papo, how sick are you of these CM Punk chants?
Chicago's his hometown. He's going to get chants, and he's still loved by the WWE Universe. So it's to be expected. It didn't bother me at all. I mean, outside of Chicago, it would get annoying big time. And they do that especially when AJ comes out. But in Chicago, you know what? It didn't bother me at all. And you know what? I had a little hope that he would actually just show his face just for a minute on that screen. And I was disappointed. So, Chicago, CM Punk, we go hand in hand like peas and carrots.
I don't know, man. I'm a big CM Punk fan. But we never got those ice cream sandwiches. I want to put this on record. He promised us ice cream sandwiches back in 2011. We still have not gotten ice cream sandwiches. I'm very upset about that. Well, it's interesting. So we get these CM Punk chants, and Stephanie McMahon, who's amazing, right? She has perfectly channeled everything about her father into herself, except that she can actually have wrestling matches, because Vince just have terrible wrestling matches. But she basically comes out, the crowd starts chanting CM Punk, and she's like, "That's right, cheer him," because he's a quitter, and you people are quitters. But it was great. It was great, and it just immediately killed the CM Punk chants. And I was happy to see that. I'm a huge CM Punk fan, and I want him to exceed, and I wish him the best. I'm a selfish wrestling fan, and I don't want to see him do anything else but wrestle. So I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That would be like the idea of seeing Rey Mysterio working on a hot dog stand. It would drive me crazy. Ray, you wrestle or sports entertain, whatever. That's what you do. Do that. I don't care what other things you do. I want to see you in a ring, damn it. You didn't get famous just so you could go on Talking Dead, talk about zombies. Get back in the ring. That's what we want to see. Screw zombies. Anyway, that's first rant's out of the way. So, man, show opens up with just a whole cluster muck kind of promo. Basically, Paul Heyman shows up and interrupts the Authority and basically says, "How dare you?" Right? Brock Lesnar was putting a hurting on John Cena, and John Cena could have, and he even alluded to the possibility of John Cena winning that match had Seth Rollins not interfered and basically curb stomped the champion, stomp Brock Lesnar. And then, of course, Rollins comes out, says, "Paul, I'm sorry. I thought you would know that I'm just trying to make my mark. I mean, one man to another. In this business, you gotta do big things. Gotta make yourself noticed, and I tried to do that." And they basically they allude to what happened this past Friday on SmackDown, where Dean Ambrose straight up stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then, of course, Rollins makes a statement that basically no one wants to see Cena as champ ever again. Huge pop from the crowd.
For real.
I don't mind Cena getting that 16-time world champion mark. I don't mind that. I just think that we need to wait for that. Like, have that at a later date, because he's been on top for so long. You can use him to elevate other guys without having to bring back guys like RVD and Jericho for just a couple of months here and there. You could do that with Cena, but I don't mind them putting the belt on Cena, but just give it some time. Let us enjoy this period that we have where Cena, for once, is not champion. Please. Anyway, Ambrose shows up on the Tron and basically says, "If you want this, you can come and get it." To which Rollins starts leaving the ring, and he's about to go to the backstage area. See, a wild John Cena appears and tries to up Rollins. Rollins escapes, and that was that. Were you entertained by this opening segment?
Oh, definitely, man. Especially that comment where Rollins said, "Do we really want to see John Cena with that belt again?" I went into laughing my ass off because I am so tired of him holding that belt, especially with McMahon shoving him down our throats. Let somebody else give it a run. He lost that rematch. Let's go. Let's keep the ball rolling, man.
Keeping that ball rolling. Keeping that ball rolling. We got a Susan G. Komen video package. Ladies and gentlemen, if I stumble over my words, I am drinking an alcoholic beverage, so please bear with me. We have the Authority meeting backstage, and we have Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble. Jamie Noble will actually talk about. I dropped my pen. Hold on. Jamie Noble. Jesus, really?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are having technical difficulties.
Of the alcoholic persuasion. Let's try that again. Okay. So Jamie Noble will actually reference later on in the show because he has to do with our new segment, which is basically a show of the week, which I don't want to spoil, but we'll get to. Do you find it fun that Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury have now become almost like the new Stooges, like replacing Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe for Triple H?
They have to have jabronis in there. They have to have cronies in there also. So, I mean, they're young, and they're totally cruiserweights anyways. So, I really don't care too much about what they add, but they did offer, as Raw went on, some comic relief, which made the show a little bit more entertaining.
That is true. That is true. So basically, when the Authority meets with these two individuals, these two stooges, if you will, ladies and gentlemen, and they basically tell him, bring back the briefcase by any means necessary. Don't care how you do it, just bring it back to its rightful owner. After that, we get, in my opinion, match of the night right off the bat. First match on the show. And we talk about this frequently, where we come across matches on Raw, usually involving either Ziggler or Cesaro, in this case involving both of them, that could be pay-per-view level matches. And at the very least, this match could have main evented Raw. We had Cesaro versus Miz, with Damien Mizdow, his stunt double, in tow, versus Dolph Ziggler as a match for the Intercontinental title. Now, on SmackDown, they had some sort of battle royal to explain why Cesaro was interjected into this match, and it's basically because he won that battle royal, becoming the #1 contender. Question: how much, or rephrase this, did you enjoy this match as much as I did?
This match was off the hook. I mean, honestly, I believe Cesaro got robbed, and he could have easily taken that belt, but it was hilarious. I mean, especially with Mizdow on the outside making his comments and whatnot, it was great. So this match was one of my favorites of the evening.
Yeah, man. This was, and I actually have a little bit of an angry rant here. So before we get into the actual goings-on of the match, Papa, I gotta ask you, why in the blue hell would you ever have a commercial break during a championship match? Is this acceptable?
Unacceptable. Negator. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready for it?
I'm telling you, we need a little meter that tells us on the raspberry scale, or stinkometer or something. We gotta come up with a gimmick for that. I love it. Yeah, no, it's terrible, right? I mean, if you were booking a show, would you ever put a championship match on in such a way that it would be interrupted by a commercial?
Never. Never. And I mean never. Because you know what? People want a champion. And to go ahead and have the home viewers interrupted by a commercial? Come on, man. That is straight.
So, one of my other problems with this, and I don't know if you've noticed it, I do, and it bothers me. Every single time we get the Intercontinental Championship is mentioned, every single time, without fail, they list famous people who held the title. First, of course, they list Pat Patterson, who supposedly was the first ever Intercontinental Champion. I say supposedly because, according to WWE myth and legend, that he won the title in a battle royal in, I think it was either Brazil. Yeah, I think it was Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually questioned by a lot of individuals because apparently, according to historical record, which I don't know how well that plays out with pro wrestling, supposedly there never was such an event in Brazil at the time, but that's their story and they're sticking to it. But every time they mention it, they mention the likes of the Honky Tonk Man, to my knowledge, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever. They mention Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. They mention The Rock. They mention Austin. They mention Shawn Michaels. They mention a whole slew of people. I believe they even mentioned the Ultimate Warrior. Why on God's green earth do they never mention the Macho Man as one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time? Why does Macho Man get no love?
I don't know. I mean, man, I don't think he ever did a porno or anything to discredit him. I mean, I thought he was an awesome Intercontinental Champion. But
I'm going to stop you right there. Could you imagine a Macho Man porno? I'd watch it.
Ooh yeah, ooh yeah.
It would be the greatest porno ever. I'd buy it on Blu-ray. It'd be great. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just had to interject. So you were saying?
I mean, dude, he was an awesome IC champion, but he was also a heavyweight champion. So, they probably don't even credit him for the IC champion and will put him as a world champion in that category.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because back in those days, it wasn't called the Intercontinental Championship. It was called the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. That's what always threw me for a loop in later years, because I would watch promos and he would say things like, "I am the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all time," and I'd be like, "What are you talking about, Macho? It doesn't say heavyweight." But turns out back in the day it did say it. And you can go on the interwebs, you can go to Wikipedia, it says it right there, heavyweight. But yeah, no, it's kind of weird, right? He just gets no love. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe it's because they're waiting to put him in the Hall of Fame and then they'll mention him after that. I don't know. Either way, Macho Man, in my opinion, arguably greatest professional wrestler of all time. Total package. He could work. He had a look. He had character. He had a way of speaking. He had Miss Elizabeth. He had the greatest flying elbow and flying double axe handle I've ever seen. I'm going to stop marking out for Macho Man, but I will tell you that, as you mentioned, Ziggler, Cesaro, and Miz killed it during this match. Absolutely killed it. Now,
killed it
dead. They killed it dead, and not just dead, D-E-A-D. I'm talking D-E-D dead, with an exclamation point. Killed it.
Ooh yeah.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. I will ooh yeah all night. So much so that my wife will scream at me, because she's starting to hate it when I do all the Macho Man-isms. But question: at the end of the match, Miz gets his leg hurt, and Damien Mizdow, who's probably next to Dean Ambrose on a week-to-week basis, is probably the most entertaining guy on the roster. How awesome was it to see that with Miz hurt his knee, Mizdow is selling his knee as if his knee is hurt as well. In general, how awesome is Damien Mizdow specifically?
That was so funny. Because knowing he doesn't have an injury, and he's going to lay down on the ground next to Miz and hold his knee in the same manner as Miz. Like, they were complete mirror images. That shit was so funny. I was rolling. I'm like, look at this fool here.
Yeah, man. I see big things for Damien Mizdow in the future, and I'm still selling it. The idea that we're going to have a Miz versus Miz match. Who's the better Miz? I'm just saying, I think it's Damien Mizdow.
WWE, call him. He has the ideas.
Bring me up, man. Seriously. And speaking of ideas, we're going to get into some good ones later on in this show. But before we do that, we had Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury looking for Ambrose backstage. And then we get something interesting. It's a new Wyatt family video package. So, a couple of quick questions. One, have you been missing our dear leader, Bray Wyatt? And two, is it just me, or does this video package seem to be breaking away Harper from Rowan for like a singles push?
I definitely got the same feeling on that. But Rowan had maybe a split second in the video, I remember. But I would prefer Luke Harper in singles competition, because that guy can go for real. Rowan has the strength to go against the Big Show, and which they actually took it to him really nice, which I liked. But again, his in-ring performance is not up to par to Luke's. So if they push him for singles, I'm definitely be watching for that.
Yeah. And a final point on that, or a final question. Are we losing Eric Rowan? Are we just going to not have Eric Rowan anymore? Because I know when they first started coming out, My impression was, here you got Bray Wyatt. He's the Kevin Sullivan of the group. You've got Luke Harper, who's just amazing, and his time will come eventually. And then you have Eric Rowan, who has grown on me in the past couple of months, but ultimately ends up just being the guy that wears the sheep mask. Did he just draw the short straw there? Are we getting rid of Eric Rowan?
I don't think we're going to get rid of Eric Rowan. I mean, they're a family, but I don't see them completely Xing him out. But I see him turning into a jabroni. I'll tell you that right now.
That's sad. That's terribly sad. And I have a question for the viewers. For the millions
and millions
of people watching us on the YouTubes, question. Now that we see that Harper is perceivably getting a singles push, or at least that's how it seems to us, who would you like to see as an added, or as another addition to the Wyatt family on the whole roster? We can include NXT in this list as well. Who would you like to see join the Wyatt family next? And yeah, comment down below. So that being said, Papa, we get to more Ambrose shenanigans. We got Jamie Noble, Joey Mercury. They report to the Authority backstage. Noble has a little bit of mustard on his lip and basically gets accused of eating a hot dog. And then he's basically told, find Ambrose or get fired. Now, Damien Mizdow comes in with The Miz and speaks as The Miz's advocate here. Basically, Damien Sandow puts himself in the position of The Miz and basically says, I shouldn't have had to share that match with Cesaro. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Blah blah blah. You shouldn't have done this to me. Again, speaking as if he's Miz. And the best part about it, Miz is like fervently shaking his, nodding his head, and in agreement with him. Triple H then, of course, laughs, says that's what you're here for. Mizdow, you're going to get a match later on tonight, and basically gets in Miz's face and says, the next time you come in here barking orders, I'm going to make sure that your straight-to-DVD movie career goes straight to the unemployment line. So, we just can't get enough of Damien Mizdow, right? I mean, even here in this segment, it was just gold, right?
He's definitely working that mic right now, and with him being Mizdow, he finally found something that he can get into instead of doing different costumes every week. So Mizdow, I mean, as right now, he's found a place, and I'm hoping that they watch this and go with your idea for who's the better Miz match. Oh,
me too. Not only that, but I hope that they hire me, because I could totally do that. It would be fun drinking with old Vic. I had a point, and I lost the point. It's coming back to me. You know, we'll just move on, and then if it comes to me, if not, whatever, it's lost. It's gone in the ether. We had a Divas match. We had beautiful, beautiful, delicious one of Layla with Summer Rae versus Rosa Mendes with Natalya and Tyson Kidd. Now, Papo, what was your overall reaction to this match, or your impressions of this match?
Okay, I mean, there was a few spots that were missed, but I mean, it was a mediocre Divas match, in my opinion. But what got me attention was fucking Tyson Kidd on his cell phone. I don't know if he was listening to music and not even paying attention to the match, but he was at the corner with headphones on his phone. And let me tell you, I mean, that pissed Natalya off big time, and I just couldn't help but to laugh because she snatched his phone after the match.
So, question. I gotta know, how much do you like or enjoy watching Tyson Kidd work? Because in my opinion, he's one of those guys that's severely underrated. Do you like Tyson Kidd?
He's not. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, I can see him as a cruiserweight champion. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't see him refined as of yet. for anything higher than that.
Fair enough. And here's a segue and quick plug. Tyson Kidd has been performing as of late on NXT. So this match was kind of like an amalgamation of all the sorts of continuity going on right now. So they have like the Total Divas storyline where apparently Tyson Kidd bought a Nordic track treadmill. I don't know. I'm not caught up on it yet because that's the stuff that's going to E! Television. I don't have television, so I watch after the fact on the network for just $9.99. But Tyson Kidd is in NXT right now, and he's doing perceivably the best stuff he's ever done, simply because he actually has an opportunity to get the light shine on him, and he is amazing. And this plays into their storyline on NXT because I see him and Natty have this kind of bumpy relationship where he's just this asshole heel, so much so, and I don't know if you noticed it, but they did it on Raw. When Tyson Kidd goes to NXT, the crowd chants Natty's husband. But yeah, man, this match was fun. It was interesting. It was about just under 3 minutes. Wasn't anything impressive. And I know I mentioned I have a rant. We actually haven't gotten to the rant yet, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be in a few minutes. But anything that you wanted to add or you felt you wanted to include for this particular segment before we keep that ball rolling?
Nothing at all. So let's keep that ball rolling, Ted.
Keeping the ball rolling, we have my man. If the WWE was a world of comic books, Dean Ambrose would be motherfucking Joker. Because Dean Ambrose comes to the ring, he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he's got a duffel bag. Quick question. Before we get into actually what was in the duffel bag, did you have any guesses as to what was in that bag? Were the wheels turning in your mind trying to figure out what was in that bag?
Nothing really. I mean, when I first saw him backstage, I just thought it was just like regular ring gear. But then when he comes to the ring, we find out exactly what's in the bag.
Oh, we find out.
Oh, yes.
Oh yes! So we find out Ambrose comes to the ring, and he gets a table, to which I'm always happy to see a table get pulled out, puts the table in the ring, puts the Money in the Bank briefcase on the table, puts the duffel bag on the table, and proceeds to inform the audience that the bag is filled with T-shirts. And he's not happy with how the McMahon's Helmsley era, or excuse me, no, now it's the Authority era, is doing business. So he basically decides he's going to Robin Hood that shit, and he tells the crowd he's going to start giving T-shirts away. Initially it's for $1, and then, fuck it, he's just throwing shirts into the crowd. Eventually, he even throws the duffel bag into the crowd. And then he says a line that is interesting, and it harkens back to something Rollins said earlier. And Rollins says that the Money in the Bank briefcase is important to him, not just because of his contract, not just because of his contract, but more specifically because there are some personal items that belong to him. Now, me personally, myself, in my humble professional opinion, I thought that bag was Rollins' personal items. Turns out we'll get to that in a few minutes. But Rollins basically comes out with some security, and he says, "Hey man, give me my briefcase." Rollins says, Ambrose points to security and basically asks them if they're real security or weren't they rosebuds last week. Did you enjoy that little jab?
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I mean, just calling out Rollins and the backstage clonings and stuff. It's great. I love it.
It's almost like breaking the fourth wall, or kind of like being able to have the fun to not necessarily poke fun at itself, but to become self-aware of what's going on. Like, yeah, we know that most of the cops in these storylines are not real cops, and I think Triple H did that when back in the day when he back in the day. Jesus, that was just a year ago. When he pedigreed Daniel Bryan with the hands cuffed behind his back. So nice to see that with Ambrose, and he is super entertaining. Then he basically backs out of the ring, says, you know what, man, I'm sorry. I was kind of being a douche. You're right. It's your property. It's not my property. Go ahead and take the briefcase. Leaves the ring, goes out to the crowd, and Rollins gets to open the briefcase. Were you expecting something was going to happen when he opened the briefcase? Were you expecting there was some foul play afoot?
Oh, definitely. I mean, honestly, I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know exactly what. But I knew something was going to happen. Me, personally, I thought a cream pie was going to come out and hit him in the face.
I would have liked that. Well, we basically got the equivalent of a cream pie. Rollins opens up the briefcase, and I don't know whether it was goop or paint or what, but it was green stuff. I don't know if it's like leftover green slime from the DX reunion. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, it was green shit, and sprayed all over his jacket, sprayed all over his face. Ambrose, está no bueno. Not a happy camper. How would you say? ¿Cómo se dice not a happy camper?
I have no idea. I've never come across that in the Spanish language, dude. For real. All I can say is no me gusto. That's about it, dude.
Fair enough. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're multicultural. We got diversity on lock on this show. More and more reasons to watch and like, comment, subscribe, share, embed, all that good stuff. You can also go to the Facebook page, by the way. It's going to be posted in the link below. In the link below. Doesn't matter. So, your reaction to this? Just Seth being sprayed with all manner of green goo.
Well, first off, you know something was going to happen when Ambrose did not leave the arena. He turned around when he got to the crowd and he watched. So you know something was going to happen. And then Rollins opens up the briefcase and BAM! Right in his face. BAM! Right in his face. It was hilarious. All kind of green goo. And let me tell you, you could tell Rollins was trying not to laugh. You can see in his face that he wanted to laugh. And I mean, that was like total, almost had him break character. But that whole bit was hilarious, man.
It was awesome, right? I mean, these guys, I don't know about everybody else, and I'm curious to hear your opinion on this, because this does play into what we're talking about. These guys could have a main event level feud, right? I mean, these guys could main event multiple pay-per-views with what they got going on, right? Or am I just being crazy?
Oh, no. These guys can go and they know each other. So they can put on an excellent match, a supreme clinic, if you will. If you will.
If you will, daddy.
So, I mean, they have awesome moves. They just can go at any speed, and the feud's got the crowd pumping. They got the pop that they wanted. So I say, forget it, let them go. Give them any match anywhere, and these guys are going to put on an excellent show.
Hey, man, next pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, let a comment section down below. Next pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell. Do you want to see these two dudes go at it inside? What's the phrasing that the most demonic structure in WWE history? You want to see these two dudes go at it in a cell?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to take that a bit further. I would love to see that in the Hell in a Cell, but I would love to see these two in an Elimination Chamber match.
You mean like an Elimination Chamber match where the two of them happen to be in there? Or an Elimination Chamber match where it's just the two of them?
Just the two of them. No place to run. No place to hide. I got you thinking, Ted.
I like it. I like it. but I don't think it would work with the two of them. But what you could do, and hear me out, right? Because the way they advertise, or the way they talk about the Elimination Chamber, is that it's not at regular intervals, because it's basically the WWE's version of the War Games, where in the War Games I think it was like every 2 minutes, or no, the first two were every 5 minutes, and then after that it was 2-minute intervals. But with the Elimination Chamber, they advertise it as being random. So at random intervals, the pods open up. So I'm going to take your idea, and I'm going to sprinkle a little flavor on top of it. Imagine this. You have an Elimination Chamber match with 4 other dudes. We don't give a damn who the other 4 are. But at the end, everybody's been knocked out and or eliminated. The last 2 pods open. Same time. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, drama all over the place.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's money, man. Vince, call me.
Call him.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Ideas for days.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, don't get me started. I'm going to be ooh, yeah, all night, brother. So, we got another authority meeting backstage. This is actually like the third, looking at my notes, this is like the 3rd or 4th time they've met backstage. Rollins bumps into the authority. Triple H basically listens to Orton and Kane bitch and moan about how they're constantly cleaning up Seth Rollins' mess. And he basically books a rematch, essentially, of last week's main event, where it was Orton and Kane versus Cena and Ambrose. And basically suggests that they should want this match, just because they were screwed out of a clean finish last week. Then, something starts vibrating. It's not Kane's phone. It's not Rollins' phone. It's not Triple H's phone. It's not Stephanie's phone. The camera pans over slowly to the Money in the Bank briefcase. Enter Seth Rollins, who grabs the briefcase in a rather defensive manner, proceeds to exclaim that it's just an electric razor. Motherfucker, you clearly don't shave. That would be like saying I carry a razor in my shit, and y'all can see I don't shave worth a damn. So, yeah. Here's the question. Because I was thinking about this. The wheels were turning, if you will.
If you will.
If you will. Were they insinuating that he had a vibrating pocket pussy, or that he had a vibrating dildo? I'm confused.
Look at the hair, dude. He's got to be a bit of a doo-doo chaser.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Either way, I think we can all safely assume that no matter which way you swing, it was some sort of sex thing, if you will.
If you will.
You know what? We say that so much. We say that so much on the show. We have to have some sort of sound lined up. I love it, if you will. So, yeah. Moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one of my favorite segments of this week's Raw. Mark Henry comes out. Now, he begins to cut an in-ring promo to apologize for his loss. Papo, before we get into what actually happened, do you feel that he let down 318 million Americans?
Yes. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, good. So, Mark Henry, you bastard, you let down 318 million Americans. Technically, I guess that would be, what's the math on that? 318.
A lot?
Hold on, I'm going to figure it out. 16. So, fuck it. I went to public school. I can't handle that. A lot of Americans. A whole lot of Americans. So whatever 318 million times 2 is, probably 720 or 30 some odd million. But the fact of the matter is, he let down Americans. Ain't no we the people for Mark Henry. So he begins to apologize to the crowd when Papo, your boy, shows up.
Oh, yay, here comes Bo Dallas. Oh, my God. I know, Ted, you want me to be a believer.
Hey, man,
Oh, no.
all you got to do is believe.
That sounded such like a doo-doo chaser.
So Bo Dallas comes out and he says, Mark, don't apologize to the crowd. Apologize to yourself. You lost to Rusev twice. And then he says something beautiful. He says, you've been locked out, passed out, and even cried your eyes out. You're not living up to your potential. It's time to close the Hall of Pain and open up the Hall of Bo Leavers. How excited would you be for a Hall of Bo Leavers?
Very, very disappointed. So, Ted, that's your boy. You can keep that ball rolling.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Anyway, after all, as we know, being a Bo Leaver means never having to say you're sorry. And speaking of terrible segues and never having to say you're sorry, we get Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, versus the Bo Leaver, the inspirational one, Bo Dallas. Now, this match wasn't very long. Papo, I'm curious, did you enjoy this match as much as I did?
You know what? I did enjoy this match up until a point where Mark Henry took it to Bo Dallas, and Bo Dallas attempted to fight back, but overall, Mark Henry outpowered him big time. But come to the end of the match where Bo Dallas got the bulldog off on him, I was surprised. I kind of thought that Mark Henry was going to reverse that, but Bo Dallas got the upper hand. Surprised me. So your boy got the win over Mark Henry, the world's strongest doofus.
The world's strongest American disappointer, if you will.
If you will.
So, yeah, I mean, the story they told was really cool, right? Mark Henry's just pissed. How dare you? How dare you, Bo Dallas, come in here? And it's very similar to what we saw with the Swagger feud, which, by the way, where is Swagger? We haven't seen Swagger in a while. It's almost the formula at this point is almost with feud with Rusev, lose, feud with Bo Dallas, which leads me to my money idea. Again, Vince, call me. I don't sleep at night, so I'll answer. And I don't sleep at night because I'm forced to watch Evil Marie wrestle, which we'll get into my angry rant in just a few moments. Imagine Bo Dallas never loses. It's alternate dimension type shit, right? Bo Dallas never loses to Argus. Bo Dallas is still undefeated, and we get an undefeated Bo Dallas versus undefeated Rusev in a streak versus streak match. Is that not a money idea?
That is a major money idea. That is straight pay-per-view-esque, if you will.
If you will. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, you were saying?
That would be an awesome storyline to follow. So,
right,
ahead,
you could have
will.
If you will, you could have video packages of Bo just being inspirational, basically talking about it doesn't matter how high the mountain is you climb, so long as you can climb it, and you both. It would be amazing. It would be wonderful. It would sell tickets. I'd go. I'd buy it. Of course, I don't do because I got the WWE Network for just $9.99. Anyway, basically the story they told was really interesting because Mark Henry just put in a merciless beating on Bo Dallas, and I think that this happened to Mark Henry the last time that he lost. Maybe it was to Rusev, but Mark Henry, and I don't really remember him doing this. He goes to do that Vader bomb, right? It's like the one that Jack Swagger does, where he runs to the corner and then like springboards, bounce, bounce, Swagger bomb. But Mark Henry does it very much like Vader would do, where he slowly gets up, gives the time to the other gentleman to recover, and then basically he's about to do it, And it's a perfect spot, right? Because in all reality, Bo Dallas should never be able to just take over on Mark Henry. But here, because
No.
yeah, no, never, right? As much as a believer as I am, but the psychology here is really good because the idea is that should never happen. But it only happens because of hubris, right? Because Mark Henry is overconfident and makes a stupid mistake only for Bo to be able to capitalize on it. I thought it was incredible. Bo Dallas wins and then gets a backstage interview with Renee Young only for Mark Henry to come in and just put the boots to his monkey ass. I know you must have enjoyed that.
Oh, yes.
This leads to a Dust Brothers promo between Brothers Gold and Stardust. I don't really have anything to say here, other than the fact that I enjoyed it. Anything you care to mention, Papa?
No, it was a cool spot. I enjoyed it. So let's go ahead and keep that ball rolling.
All right, keeping the ball rolling, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned that there was going to be a rant. It's about to come in just a few moments. We have a scheduled match where it's Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella. Brie comes to the ring, Brie mode. I swear to God, Brie doesn't wear anything that isn't allowed to wear anything that doesn't say Brie mode on it. Which, by the way, if you watch Total Divas, Brie mode just means that Brie gets drunk and frisky. That's all Brie mode means. So it's not like some sort of ascended or Super Saiyan level form. It's just she gets drunk and frisky. So instead of having that match, Nikki basically comes out, she shoots on Brie, and then we get Cameron, a former team member of the Funkadelic, and Eva Marie. Vince, this is why I don't sleep at night, is because I'm forced to watch fucking Eva Marie on my wrestling show. It's awful, and I'm contemplating putting my head in a goddamn microwave oven. It's so bad. And they have a handicap match. So, Papo, quick question. This match was terrible, but how much did you enjoy the JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler chants in the middle of it?
Yo, that was hilarious. I mean, that was totally, like, out there. I mean, where did that even come from? For real, man.
It was more entertaining, the match. And here comes my feud, right? The match ended at about 2 minutes and 55 seconds, which, according to my timer, is 2 seconds longer than the previous Divas match earlier in the night. So we have a problem with the Divas, specifically the Divas on the main roster. Brie Bella has improved, although she's been wrestling for the past 7 years, and we're including her time in WWE as well as time spent in developmental. Hasn't improved much. And I don't know about you, but I really don't like it. Me no gusta, if you will, that she's channeling Daniel Bryan. Do we need to be reminded that she's married to Daniel Bryan?
No. That ruins the whole storyline.
All right, good. I'm glad you're with
me. We all know this, and, you know, being wrestling fans, we want the, if you will, the whole imagination that she's single, that we have a chance with her.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying that Brie Bella isn't attractive, but if you put a gun to my head and you said, Ted, you can only put your willy in the hoo-ha of one Bella sister, I'd put my willy in Nikki Bella's hoo-ha. I'm just saying. Nikki's got them curves.
Touche, Ted, touche.
Anyway, so Brie Bella has improved. I really don't care that she channels Daniel Bryan, especially when she does those kicks, which are like the worst looking kicks I've ever seen. And again, if you're not good at something, just don't do it. Like if you're a wrestler or a sports entertainer, your punches are weak. Here's an idea: don't throw punches. Right? Accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. So Brie Bella has improved. It took her 7 years, although she hasn't improved much. It does not change the fact that none of these girls can work a solid wrestling match. None of them. Now, I will say as a caveat to that statement just now, Cameron is able to make up for the fact of her lack of ability to work. In that, although she can't work per se, she's able to make up with it with just straight viciousness. I mean, she got the tag. Eva Marie tagged her in, and she just starts stomping on Brie Bella's titties, and it was just brutal. I mean, so I'm going to exclude Cameron from this statement because Cameron makes up for that in other ways. Again, we're accentuating, hiding the negatives, accentuating the positives. Now, out of all these girls that can't work, we have women on this roster that can work, and I'm specifically referring to the main roster, any and all females that we have seen on the main roster, again, not NXT. I'm going to list a few off that we know that can work. AJ, Paige, Natalya, Naomi, Layla, Alicia Fox, Emma, and Tamina Snuka. You have all these women that can work that are under contract according to WWEshop.com, or WWE.com. Why the hell would you book a match with women who just can't work? Why wouldn't you put, here's an idea, Papo, let me sell you on this idea. Let me pitch this idea to you. You tell me what you think.
Give it to me, Ted. Come on. Come on, Ted, give it to me.
I'm working on it. So, to advance the Brie versus Nikki story, use at the same time you could advance another storyline, right? Because Brie ultimately gets the win on a really pathetically bad roll-up on Cameron. But imagine instead that Brie's only able to get the win because she's facing AJ Lee and Paige. And because AJ Lee and Paige are feuding against each other, that's going to allow her a moment to be able to capitalize on to win. Wouldn't that have been something better to watch?
I am in total agreement, Stu.
Good.
I mean, honestly, that going back to the Brie match with Cameron, I mean, that was horrible. Completely horrible.
Awful. It was the worst. It was the drizzling shits, if you will.
The drizzling shits?
So this is my last point to my rant here, is that you have women that can improve, and we want to improve. I want to see good women wrestling. I hate seeing terrible women wrestling. Papo, there's an easy fix to this problem. All you'd have to do, aside from Bo leaving, all you have to do is put these women on what they call dark matches. And for our peoples that are currently watching or watching after the fact, when I say dark match, what I'm referring to is a match that's non-televised, right? So before the show goes live or before they start recording, put them on there every time. So that way they're able to work in front of the crowd. And, that's not the match that you put on just before the show goes live. You get a match after that to warm them up, but you give them time in front of a crowd so that way they're used to working the crowd and they can improve, because they're not going to improve if you don't put them in the game. So, again, just make them work, but just not on television, not until they're improved, because they just look bad, and the Divas division in turn looks like a fucking joke. Papo, it's almost time to play our new favorite game, Who's in the Bunny Suit? But before we do that, we got Adam Rose with the Bunny on commentary for a match of my guys, Slater Gator, Heath Slater, Titus O'Neil, with Hornswoggle playing the part of the Gator, which I am so happy about. Believe it or not, I'm a big Hornswoggle mark. Versus Primo and Epico. I don't even get to call you guys Los Matadors anymore. You're Primo and Epico now. You've always has been, always will be. And El Torito. They make a point of mentioning that the dishonorable Jesse Jackson is at ringside. I don't know what the point of this is. Nobody gives a fuck about Jesse Jackson. Slater wins with a roll-up. After the match, Titus O'Neil attacks El Torito. Hornswoggle comes in and kind of steals a move right out of Harper's playbook, the Gator roll, which is kind of like it's a front face lock, but you're trapping one of the arms. So it's an arm trap front face lock, and you just roll this way and roll that way. Then the Bunny and Adam Rose the Straxlater Gator only for Primo and Epico, a.k.a. Los Matadores, to attack and get the revenge. Papo, who's in the bunny suit this week? Because I have no clue. I couldn't figure it out this week.
Without him wrestling, I mean, there's really no way to tell who was in the suit. I mean, it could have been just a jabroni in the suit. I mean, but without any real like mannerisms, it's really hard to tell who was in it. I mean, they just sat there and just acted funny. Yeah.
Papo, you're right. It was Vince McMahon in the bunny suit. I'm glad you agree with me.
Okay, I'm agreeing with you. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Moving on, we got Rusev and Lana. In-ring promo that's interrupted by Big Show. This leads into a video package where they play from last week, or excuse me, last SmackDown, where basically Rusev technically loses the match by disqualification, which I don't count as far as an undefeated streak goes, because no one has actually physically beaten him yet. Just because he loses by technicality doesn't mean anyone's actually technically or really defeated him. So I'm going to say, strike that shit from the record. Rusev's undefeated. Big Show gets a wicked knockout punch, and then they cut back to the current issue, and Rusev actually doesn't break character, but starts saying in English he's going to break every bone in your body, and he's going to kick you in the groin. Papo, did you pop when Rusev said he was going to kick Big Show in the dick?
That shit was funny as hell. And then to hear him speak English, that was even more funny. He sounded like some deli clerk talking crap that he's going to kick Big Show in the nuts. That was awesome.
He's like the dude. He's like the soup dude from Seinfeld. Instead of saying no soup for you, he's like, I'm going to kick you in the dick. Big Show charges the ring, only for Rusev to flee. And then Big Show kind of gets a hold of that flag they've been unrolling, excuse me, from above the ring, and he grabs it, and he starts to pull, and he eventually yanks the Russian flag down. He gets the second loudest pop of the night. Did you have any comments to that, or can we keep this ball rolling?
Let's keep this ball rolling.
Keeping the ball rolling, we had a backstage interview segment with Renee Young. She's interviewing John Cena, and this is actually, again, interviewed by Dean Ambrose. And we're seeing the story that they're telling is that two guys want to exact revenge on the same person, but there's tension building up. Who's going to be able to exact that revenge first? And Ambrose says this wonderful line that I really enjoyed, where Cena's like, well, Ambrose is like, well, this guy betrayed me. He was my brother, and he screwed me, so I'm going to kill him. And then Cena was like, well, he cost me my match and the title, so I'm going to kill him. Which is odd because considering leading up to Night of Champions, Cena said he wasn't interested in winning the title back. He was interested in just putting a hurting on Lesnar. Some odd continuity issues. But Ambrose goes on to say something really interesting. He basically says that no one's going to take food off my plate, not even you. Then, of course, we get AJ Lee versus Paige. Paige comes out with a microphone, shoots on AJ Lee, says that her new BFF, Alicia Fox, will be AJ Lee's opponent. Alicia Fox wins with an axe kick to, I believe it was AJ's back, or maybe the back of her neck. Then, of course, Paige attacks AJ afterward. Cradle DDT. Did you have any thoughts or anything to add, or can we just keep this ball?
Nothing really. I mean, the match was all right, but it didn't really hold my attention. So let's go ahead and keep this ball rolling.
Keeping the ball rolling, we had another Wyatt family video package. Same shit, different time of the show. So we're just going to move on. Then we got the match that was previously booked by Triple H earlier in the show, where it's Sheamus, which is the current United States champion, versus Damian Mizdow, with, of course, The Miz on commentary. What's awesome is that Mizdow is even wrestling like The Miz, and doesn't matter though, because it doesn't matter how much you wrestle like The Miz, you're still gonna eat a broad kick to the face. Yeah, Sheamus wins the broad kick. Your thoughts?
That was one of the nastiest bro kicks I've seen in a while. Either Mizdow got stiffed, or he sold that for the money. So I mean, I do see some contrasting styles between the new Mizdow and the Miz, but Sheamus tore him up big time. I thoroughly enjoy. This was one of my favorite matches of the night because Sheamus went off. He was on top form. There were like no spots missed, and they both looked good in the ring. So this was one of my favorite matches of the night, also.
Yeah, and I can't blame you, right? Sheamus is awesome. I just think it serves Sheamus better to be just this random heel where he's just Finley 2.0, and he just wants to fight, and it doesn't matter who gets in his way. He's just going to fight, and he's just going to be violent about it. Moving on, we had a segment where basically Hulk Hogan was brought out to basically reaffirm to the WWE Universe or the attending and, of course, home video audience that Susan G. Komen month. Buy these T-shirts. I don't like the pink Hulkamania shirt. I don't know. Seeing the red one for so many years, seeing a pink and white Hulkamania shirt, it just bothers me on some weird subconscious level. Does it bother you, or am I just being a psychopath?
You're just being a psychopath. Dude, this is for breast care awareness. Fuck you, cancer.
Listen, I'm all about fighting breast cancer. I want to save the tatas. Okay, I'm a big fan of breastises or chesticles, whatever you'd like to call them. I just can't get behind a pink Hulkamania shirt. Call me crazy. I just can't. I tried. I just can't. We get some more backstage bit by Kane and Orton, where they're like, well, we're going to point out Seth Rollins fires. And Steph basically tells them that people are saying that Kane and Orton have gone soft. And then Orton I think it was Orton, it may have even been Kane, says like, well, who's saying that? Are the people saying that, or are you saying that? And she's like, does that fucking matter? I'm your boss. Go out there, do the work. Then we get basically not really much, but an announcement that Roman Reigns is going to give an exclusive interview next week on his recovery. Papo, I know you're a huge Roman Reigns fan. How much are you anticipating, or are you excited to see this?
I'm very curious to watch this interview to see how he's doing. Everybody predicts that he's going to be out for a couple of months, which I'm hoping that is not the case. I mean, with surgery, you still have to go through rehabilitation and therapy, but the way this guy is built, he should be able to heal very quickly. So I'm hoping that he has a speedy recovery. Roman Reigns, come back, do your thing, and make your run for that title. Right now, you have fans that are wishing that you would take that from Brock Lesnar, so you need to hurry up and heal.
Definitely, and our best wishes and a speedy recovery to Roman Reigns. The only thing that I might suggest is that this may be kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it was getting to the point where a lot of people were turning on him because they were getting the impression that he was being shoved upon them. But if we know anything, anybody who returns from an injury, whether it's Austin, whether it's Triple H, no matter who it is, anybody who returns from an injury, all is forgiven upon that return because we haven't seen you in so long. So Roman, heal up pretty soon. We're waiting for that Superman punch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the main event, which I gotta say, not impressed with. I thought it was kind of horseshit, and I'd like to kind of lay that out as to my argument as to why that is. It's the same main event as last week, with the same type of finish. Not the exact same finish, but the same category of finish. We had Ambrose and Cena versus Orton and Kane. Ambrose hits Orton with dirty deeds, goes for the pin, only for Rollins to interfere and attack Ambrose. Cena and Ambrose win by DQ, which, again, like I mentioned, it's the same type of finish for the exact same main event that we had last week. Kind of lazy, people. Vince, come on, man. Call me. I don't mind Connecticut. I'm from the Northeast. I could write better TV for you in my fucking sleep, because God knows Eva Marie's matches are keeping me up at night. After match, Ambrose and Cena get a little back and forth to see who's going to get a hold of Rollins. Ambrose gets Rollins alone. RKO, chokeslam, curb stomp Ambrose onto the Money in the Bank briefcase. Wow, this alcohol is really getting to me. 12% by volume. Go figure. And then choke slam for Cena. Curb stomp onto the briefcase as well. Show goes up the air. So just a few quick questions for you, Papo. A, did you feel disappointed in this main event?
It felt repetitious, dude. Let me get. We're totally on the same page. I mean, it's like we're getting cheated out of something spectacular. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Vince, call my boy Ted.
Yeah, man, this could have been the opening match. This main event could have been Ziggler versus Cesaro versus Miz. That could have been the fucking main event here. You know, I don't know why this had to be the main event, especially since it's just rehashing last week's. It's very lazy writing. It's horrible. It's awful. Vince, please call me. My number is 555-5555, area code 555. Another question. No, seriously, that's my number. How much did you enjoy the fact that Cena got in first, so that way Ambrose could get the hot tag?
Well, I like the way they played it out in the match, but again, it was lacking that luster for a main event. My thing is, I thoroughly enjoyed watching them both get curb stomped. That move is so devastating. So let me tell you, I enjoyed watching Cena get curb stomped. I was like, please, please, don't get up, because you know they got Cena labeled as the Superman. So, and that's all I got to say about that.
Well, since that's all you got to say about that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got to say about that either. And this alcohol is really taking effect. So before we go, I'd like to introduce a new segment, which let us know what you think about it, because we may or may not be keeping this and doing this on a weekly basis. We're going to recommend a match of the week. And I encourage I'm sure you could find the video on YouTube, although I wouldn't recommend it. Again, don't be cheap. WWE Network is only $9.99 a month. Obviously, with a 6-month commitment, and again, within that $9.99, you get 100+ hours of WCW Monday Nitro. You get basically all the Raws, and the Raws are Monday Night Raws are loaded about a month behind from what's aired on television. You get NXT, you get Legends House, you get the first and second season of Divas, you get Legends of Wrestling Roundtable, which is an awesome, awesome, awesome show. You get World Class Championship Wrestling. You get something else I can't think of. You get a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, you get so much content. Let me tell you, when I put on the network, I don't know what to watch. I literally sit there and I go, wife, I'm overloaded with content. What the hell am I going to watch? And I have to run things by her to see what I'm going to watch. It's amazing, though, if you're a big, big wrestling fan and you have the $10 a month, cancel your Hulu, cancel your Netflix, get the fucking WWE Network. Vince, call me, I'll plug your shit all day, all night. But the match of the week we're going to be talking about is WrestleMania 20. It's the Cruiserweight title match. It's basically an elimination-style match. It's a battle royal, but it's not an over-the-top battle royal. So the only time you can eliminate someone is by pinfall or submission. Now, just to give an idea as to who's involved in this match, we got a few different people. We got Chavo Guerrero, okay, nephew of the late great Latino Heat, lying, cheating, and stealing his way to the top, Eddie Guerrero, with Chavo Guerrero Sr., which I'm not sure if that's his father or uncle. I'd have to look into that. Also, hey man, we got Ultimo Dragon, which Ultimo Dragon is a bad mamma jamma. I'm a huge Ultimo Dragon fan. Shannon Moore, awesome. You got Jamie Noble. Hey, remember, keeping it topical. We were talking about Jamie Noble earlier. Funaki. We have Nunzio. You may also remember him as Little Guido in ECW. Billy Kidman in Rey Mysterio. No spoilers, but this match was fun, and I figured it would be an excellent way to start this new segment. Tell us what you thought about this match in the comments section below. You can also go to the Facebook page and let us know there. Again, like we mentioned before, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think. Any suggestions and ideas, topics you want us to talk about, anything and everything, please. It'll be fun. Papa, do we have anything else that we have to get to before we sign off for the evening?
Nothing. I did post on the Facebook page that NXT will be in Fort Pierce this Saturday, which is just 30 minutes away from me and Ted. So there was no question this week, but this week I will post a question, and please comment, subscribe, and that's all I got to say about that. Anything else, Ted?
Hey, man. The only thing I got to say is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Ted, and I am joined with, or signing off with, as always,
Papo. Keep watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, like we mentioned earlier, like, comment, subscribe, share, embed, all that fun stuff. My name is Ted. His name is Papo. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
Peace.